who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing. This is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Well, hello. Thanks for joining us. I am Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder, and joining me is our Chief Creative Officer, Tom Campbell.
Hello, Fenton. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too. And James St. James, who's been nesting away since last week.
What? What have I been doing?
I don't know. We're just taking you out of your cage, letting you loose.
I know why the cage bird sings, James St. James.
Here we go.
I know. I'm terrified. And of course, Blake.
Hi.
Holding it all together.
So what are we doing? Well, we count down the top 10 things that make us go,
Wow.
And I should also tell you that we're coming to you from the heart of Hollywood.
Yes, World of Wonder headquarters.
Yes, we're adjacent. We're right on the boulevard of broken dreams.
Yes,
right?
we're breaking them every day.
RuPaul's star is outside. It's our guiding light, our inspiration. And
Our lodestar, so to speak.
touchstone.
Yes.
And you can listen and you can watch us on the Wow Report, worldofwonder.net/radio. Andy, but without further ado, let's get to the top 10 things that made us go, wow, this week. Tom, 10.
Number 10.
At number 10, I have some wicked news.
Yeah?
Some wicked good news and some wicked bad news.
Oh, dear.
Let's start with the wicked bad
Yeah,
news.
let's start with the bad. I love the bad.
Ariana Grande.
Oh.
Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live. The couple that if I had money to invest in a couple, it would have been for them. No, I'm not making
They were
fun.
the Johnny Depp and Kate Moss of this
our
the
generation.
millennium. Yeah.
But I'm out of touch because this was a very, very fast romance, right? They were engaged to be married moments after they met.
But we don't shame them for it.
No.
We celebrated it. We
But
loved it. We
It's just
thought
the
they
news cycle. I can't keep up.
I know, but they did fall in love quickly. Today the kids like to get tattoos.
They got the tattoos. They
Matching
got they
tattoos.
bought they bought a pig together. They bought a little pot-bellied pig named Piggy Smalls, I think is what they called it. And then he also gave her a $93,000 engagement ring.
3.03 carats or something.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where Pete Davidson got $93,000.
What happened? What happened?
$93,000, but it would be I think a disproportionate amount of his income. You know
Well,
what I'm
she
saying?
got to keep the pig, so.
Well, it's not funny, but ironic because there were supposedly some cracks we were seeing along the way. Like she was supposed to be the musical guest on the first episode of Saturday Night Live this season, which she was replaced by Kanye. Thank you very much. But on that episode, Pete was kind of poking fun at himself and their relationship, and he
As he does.
And he said, "Yes, I like him. I like both of them.
I love them. I love them so much.
And maybe they'll be back together." But he said as a joke, which was interesting, was, "God forbid we split up. She takes half my sneakers. I'm totally comfortable being with a successful woman. I live at her place. She pays like $60,000 for rent, and all I have to do is stock the fridge." And then he also said, "But like in 10 years, if God forbid it ever happens, there'll be a song called Pete Davidson, which she wrote a song about him that'll be playing at on the speakers at Kmart, and I'll be working there." So you think that's Pete's future?
I don't. No, I don't. I think that Pete has a good future ahead of him. I like Pete, and I think we're all sort of are pushing for him. And he seems like sort of a little sad sack. You know, he's had some mental health issues. His father, you know, famously or infamously, you know, died in 9/11. I feel like he's a good guy, and I wish him all the best.
Both of them. And Ariana has had a tough year because her ex killed
Mac
himself,
Miller.
and she's had that huge. A lot of people on Instagram and on social media were attacking her and blaming her and doing awful things. Which
Well, but she also, you know, just lived through the terror attack and
a year before she handled so brilliantly. So we need some wicked good news, which is Ariana in fresh breakup. Posts that she's going to be part of the Wiz special. The NBC
Wicked
has
special.
a very wicked Halloween special on NBC, which is airing, which is going to be a concert where Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel and the current stars of it, Jessica Vosk and Amanda Jane Cooper, will be performing, and Ariana, and there's going to be many more stars
and they're singing the songs of Wicked.
which is the 15th anniversary. Have you seen Wicked?
No.
What?
Have you seen Wicked?
About 20 times.
Have you seen Wicked?
No.
I read the book.
It's one of my favorite musicals of all time.
Popular.
It makes me quiver and cry because it's all about the retelling of The Wizard of Oz, and you understand why the green girl got wrongly blamed for being wicked, and it just
Because wicked means that you're knowledgeable, that you have power, knowledge, and that's what it is.
and just having been on the other side, in your own life, it resonated with me.
But why did they break up? I'm sorry. Going back.
We don't really know.
We don't know yet.
Maybe because they were in their 20s and they met in a week and they had tattoos and they're in the public life.
Everyone
and they're
is
very busy.
Everyone's saying it's because of Mac Miller's death, her ex-boyfriend. I mean, it just
No,
like
but she
caused
also,
problems.
remember, it's like Selena Gomez just recently had a breakdown over Justin Bieber's.
She's
So we're talking like rebound sort of problems.
I don't know, and I don't think it's fair for us to speculate because like they.
But I was kind of like they became an instant couple that everyone talked about that you wanted good things for. Jokes were written about them. Everything was
like I said, you're pulling for both of them because you really feel like they're both they're a mismatched couple, and
So
you really
maybe
want
there's a reunion in the
There
future.
could be.
The Bert and Lonnie of the 2018.
But we love a celebrity couple, and this one was so quirky and so cute. But now, unfortunately, Ariana has
And we remember we famously
no tears left to dry. You stepped on my
Oh,
line. You stepped on
wow,
my line.
good.
Wow.
Do it again.
Wow.
Do it again.
No, I only had
I
one. I
love
only had
that.
one inside of me.
I love that. Well, you can watch Very Wicked Halloween celebrating 15 years on Broadway, Monday, October 29th.
I can't wait for that.
10 p.m. on NBC. Okay. Moving right along. Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9, I went to go see The Old Man and the Gun.
Which you've told me since, but that hasn't been very well publicized.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of it.
Oh, you guys, you're just all so out of it. I can't even believe it. It's being touted as Robert Redford's last film.
That's ridiculous.
That's a headline.
Yes, he's
Why?
in his 80s. He says he might direct a little more, but then he said that this was his last time acting. He'd been acting for 50 years. It was just he had enough. He has since sort of recanted that. He's walked it back a little bit, said that he might have one more film in him. I don't know. This stars Sissy Spacek, Robert Redford, Casey Affleck, who's back in the public eye after a year after his Me Too scandal.
Yeah.
Danny Glover. It has Tom Waits. It is
It's a great cast.
Yeah, it's a
what's it
fantastic
about?
cast.
What's it about? What's the
It's
story?
in the long tradition of I just spit all over everybody. I'm sorry.
Spray it,
The long
don't say
tradition
it.
of sort of senior citizen as robbers. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like Going in Style with Art Carney and George. Is it George Burns?
So it's a sort of old Dog Day afternoon.
Exactly. Well, yeah. And do you remember Bunny O'Hare?
Stop for a moment. Dog Day
Thank you.
afternoon.
Occasionally I have.
That's a good one. Write that one down.
Remember Bunny O'Hare with Betty Davis and Ernest Borgnine, and they were hippie robbers?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been a lot of these movies. Going in Style, there's a King of Thieves with Michael Caine. It's just sort of a theme, and this is about a gentleman bandit in the 1980s. He had
1980s.
and it's set in the 1980s. Yeah. And
We said 1890s.
no.
Okay.
No, it's the 1980s.
Okay.
And throughout it's a true story about a bandit who robbed banks, and he would go and he was very polite to everybody. He was very sweet and kind, and all the women that he robbed said, "Oh, he was just the nicest man."
Oh.
And it's a true story. He'd been locked up something like 27 times, and he managed to escape prison 16 times, and he would always go back to robbing. It's the story of him and Sissy Spacek. It's a certain kind of acting. It's very gentle. It's very the humor is very gentle. They'll be sitting at dinner, and he'll say, "How are you?" And she'll pause, and she'll say, "I'm fine." And then he'll say, "How?" It's just like it will take an hour to get through a scene, and nothing much happens, and yet it's sort of a master class on these thespians,
Right?
And they're all sort of. You think they're probably Oscar bound because Sissy Spacek, especially, she just has a light about her now, and she's more beautiful now in her 70s, I think, than she was in her 20s.
And how I've seen Robert do some publicity with the Jane Fonda in that movie. Is he come off as sexy, or what's the vibe you get from Robert Redford on the screen these days?
He's somebody who is never known for his acting. He's never been.
What? How?
No, I'm
on.
sorry. He
What?
was. He's
What was he known
sort of.
for?
He's sort of a Burt Reynolds. He was known for a pretty face, is what he was known for. He was a very pretty. He wasn't taken
He's
seriously.
the Ryan Gosling.
He was a Burt Reynolds. He was not taken seriously for his acting.
The only difference is he did more prestigious material.
Not really. You
Than
have
Burt.
the Sting. You have you have a few.
Chopped liver. What
No,
else?
you
All
have-
the President's
All
Men.
the President's Men.
A Day of the Condor.
Okay, you have a handful.
The Great
Sundance.
Gatsby.
The candidate.
The Great Gatsby was not
It was
taken
supposed to
seriously at
be.
the time. It was widely reviled, if you recall, at the time. It was
Widely reviled.
It was. I'm telling you, he really was. He was known mostly for his face.
He was.
Okay,
I
He's
hear
a
that
hottie, right? Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and he's never gotten an Oscar. Has he ever been nominated for an Oscar? I don't think he has. Nobody has ever taken him seriously for his acting, except for now in his old age. He started to do these sort of prestigious little films.
Okay.
He became famous once he got
I hope he's
Sundance.
not listening
Then
to
he started getting.
prestigious little
No,
films.
he's gotten respect
Yeah.
after Sundance,
Oh, well,
but
Sundance.
he never got respect for his acting.
Right.
Butch and Sundance. It was Paul Newman who always got the acting nominations. It wasn't Robert. He was.
I guess you're right.
he
I always
did
felt
a
like
lot of-
he was A-list.
He was A-list, but he was A-list because of his looks.
Stud.
Things
Was
like
he the
Electric
Brad
Horseman.
Pitt of his day then?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think Brad Pitt has ever really gotten it.
He's absolutely Brad Pitt. So, and they're both A-list, prestigious films,
Yeah.
whether you like them or
Great.
not, kind of thing.
Right.
Okay,
But
I'm buying
there's
all
more.
that.
There's
Great
more
beauties.
Mr. Blacks, or Meet Joe Blacks than there are.
So we say great beauties but sleeping giants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, I took my mother. She loved it. Everyone in the audience was, still swooning over him at 84 years old. It's a feel good movie. It's a good
So
movie.
is it a bunch of old ladies sort of getting a little hot in the
Yeah,
theater?
there's a lot of dusty
Sounds
old.
like my kind of crowd. Would your mom ever come on the show?
No.
You sure?
You want her to?
Oh, well, I just feel like we're getting her review of the movie, and I'd rather get it directly from the source.
Maybe one day if you're feeling a little off.
I feel like you're filtered, and I would like just to hear your mom, blow whatever over Robert Redford. Just get excited and tell us.
Okay.
Old man
That would
and the
make me go,
Gun
wow.
is in theaters now.
What's your mother's name?
Debbie. Hi, Debbie.
Debbie.
Number 8.
Number 8. I'm sorry to bring it down, but we lost Mr. Turk. Mr. Turk, husband of Trina Turk, and the guy responsible for the men's line, which I know, James, you we both are a huge fan of
I
his
counted. I have over 40 of his suits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have mainly trousers, and I would even buy sizes too big or too small because I just love the pattern so much.
Very famous for its sort of mid-century Palm Springs style,
Yes.
wild, bold geographic prints.
Wild things that you would see on crazy dresses he would put into a man's suit.
Yes.
Yeah, lots
Normally,
of
or
floral patterns.
curtain fabrics. Like,
Lots of
it
50s,
just you in the curtains.
50s wallpaper type things.
And he was in his earlier mid-50s.
Oh my God, he was so young. He was
55.
55, right?
And he just,
Yeah.
he started the line in 2008, so it's only been around for 10 years. But it became sort of a mainstream, a staple of red carpet culture here in Los Angeles, where they were easy outfits. They popped on the red carpet,
right.
they popped in a picture, and they were always under $1,000. So it was
Yeah.
you.
Was
And it
it
wasn't
cheap?
just some plain black suit.
What?
It wasn't just some plain black
No,
suit.
You're making a real statement.
And WeHo Queens loved it. I mean, anytime you went to a GLAAD Awards or something, half the audience was in it. Ross Matthews, Carson Kressley,
yes.
RuPaul,
was
Andy
gonna say-
Cohen. They're all people who wear it frequently.
Rue would always say to Carson or Matthews, or in between, like, I love that suit. Where'd it come from? There,
Mr.
Turk.
Turk.
Mr. Turk. Does Mr. Turk and Moods of Norway sort of compete in the same
Yes.
space
Yes,
for a highly technicolored, bold, patterned? But certainly, you got a '70s vibe, right? 70s
Yeah, or
vibe.
50s, 60s, 70s, yeah,
50s,
all of
60s,
them, yeah.
And but he was a body surfer, and on Labor Day he was body surfing, and I guess got caught by a wave and was left paralyzed, which is terrible.
And then, he'd been in the hospital since September 7th.
So I feel less bad about going home, lying on my side and watching Netflix.
But there was
I'm going to live longer.
There's a beautiful tribute from his wife, and she said his big, beautiful life ended. And this is true. I mean, he was a powerful force of nature. I only met him in an elevator once, so I didn't really get to experience the full force of nature. But the day he died, there was a very rare but huge thunder and lightning storm.
That's true.
That was his exit.
You know, I'll tell you so. I only met him once, and it was in Palm Springs, and I was at the store, and I was trying on an outfit, and all of a sudden I heard, "You simply can't wear that. It looks terrible on you." And I said, "What?" And it was him standing there. He said, "No, the color's all wrong. You need this, this, and this."
Was he right?
He was right.
Did you?
I still bought it, but he still, but he was saying, "No, you can't wear this. This color is wrong for you, and I want you to wear this color, and you should wear this color." And he was very exuberant and very fabulous, and a really just an interesting guy.
But someone else we lost this week, and it's a tenuous connection, is Mario Buata. Mario Buata?
Yeah.
The Prince of Chintz. James, I suppose you don't remember him from
I know, I totally remember Mario
New York.
Buata. I just can't believe he's still around.
Yeah, just
How
passed
old
away,
was he?
82. New York designer, interior designer, famous for his love of chintz, which is printed cotton fabric with a glazed finish. Lovely sort of voluptuous bouquets and blossoms and roses.
It was a very 80s pattern.
Very 80s.
Yeah.
But it was, in a way, he was the 80s version of Mr. Turk. Like
Kind of.
in interior, it's a big, bold, loud, visual extravaganza.
See, that's so weird because I remember him in the 80s, and I remember, he was always in Susie.
He was also a larger than life figure.
Yeah,
too.
but I thought he was old in the 80s. I can't believe. I thought he was like in his 80s in the 80s.
Well,
I just want to thank whoever was the first person that came up with Prince of Chintz. That kind of
I remember a whole article in Manhattan Inc., which was the magazine of the 80s because big business was such a big thing that had its own magazine. And I just remember he was the cover story, Prince of Chintz.
Yeah.
I love that movie, Big Business, too.
Yeah.
Talk about your tenuous connections. My goodness.
It's back. Starring Trixie Mattel and Katya, streaming on Wow Presents Plus.
Yes.
Sign up at wow-presents.com.
You might know it as the Trixie and Katya show.
Right.
It's back to be calling
Unpronounced.
UNH HHH.
Yes. That's a segue, James, because we had to take a quick break. And for you, we have a question.
What?
Yes, I have a quick trivia question. Robert Redford and Sissy Spacek, currently starring in The Old Man and the Gun, both won Oscars in the same year, 1980. What movies did they win their Oscars for?
So much for Robert Redford not winning an Oscar.
Really?
You're listening to our brother radio, Andy, SiriusXM. We'll be right back.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton. I'm here with James, St. James. James?
I'm trying to figure this out.
You've got a
I'm
distant,
flummoxed.
deep-breath
I'm flummoxed.
And Tom. Are you cheating by looking on Google?
I never cheat.
Oh, okay. And Blake.
Yep.
We're counting down top 10 things that make us go,
Wow.
And before the break, because we were talking about Robert Redford, the old man and the gun, we had a question.
So Robert Redford and Sissy Spacek, both starring in The Old Man and the Gun, out in theaters now, won Oscars in the same year, 1980. What movies did they win Oscars for?
You don't know the answer, Fenton, right? So I'm going to say 1980, he won as director of Ordinary People.
Oh.
And I'm thinking she was in a movie. It was something about a river. It was like
No.
but you know what I'm talking about. It was like Big River, Red River, or it wasn't because
Wasn't she like Places of the Heart, or was that Jessica?
that Places in the Heart was
Sally Field. Okay.
I want to say it has river in the title and it's called like Big River.
No, it was Coal Miner's Daughter.
1980. 1980.
That was her big thing.
I thought that was the 70s.
I thought it was 79.
Of course,
too.
he won for Coal Miner's Daughter.
Maybe it came out in 79.
And he
she
won
in
for
80.
as best director for
Yeah,
Ordinary People.
he never did get an acting Oscar. Thank you. I stand vindicated.
She was nominated in 1985 for a film called The River.
Oh, I feel
Oh my
slightly
God,
better.
the knowledge in this room is astonishing. I feel like humble.
The misfiring synapses in this room is amazing.
No, he's gotten awards and for things like Sundance and for directing, but he was never really known for his acting. I stand by it.
Never known for his
I
acting.
know he wasn't. He wasn't.
He was just an actor, but never known for his acting. And we're going on with the countdown. Top 10 things this week that made us go, wow.
Number 7.
Number 7.
I really want to talk about it some more.
I'm here. I'm sharing this number with Blake. I want to talk about the Charmed reboot on the CW. Now, I watched the show and I realized while watching it, I never really watched the other one. So it's hard for me to make a lot of comparisons. But so I'm going to have Blake do the review. However, the real kind of fun controversy for people our age is that, of course, the original starred Shannon Doherty, Holly Marie Combs, Alyssa Milano, and Rose McGowan. Rose and Alyssa especially being huge in the Me Too movement. This new one, they definitely lean into the Me Too and the woman empowerment thing. But along those lines, Rose, Alyssa, Holly Marie, and Shannon are all kind of angry about this reboot.
Oh, really?
Because first of all, they're like...
Because they're not in it?
Yes. And they're like, at a certain age,
It's like
I guess
Adam West not being in Batman.
women just age out and they no longer get just like that.
Well, why couldn't one of them play the mother or something?
They weren't opposed to it. They were like, why didn't someone come to us? So they all in their own social media have been a little directly or a little not so directly shady about, you could have.
Well, are they all hurting financially at this point?
No, I think they just think that they helped
Jenny
create that
Garth.
legend.
Yeah, Jenny Garth and Shannon Doherty got to go back to 90210. Why wouldn't they go back to like Charm?
Oh, what do you think, Blake? What do you think?
I
about it?
liked the show. It was a lot like the old one. It's three sisters. They're all witches. Spoiler
Yes.
alert. But
Do they solve crimes? Is it like
sort of
Buffy?
I don't have to
Buffy.
save the world.
It is kind of like Buffy. In fact, they have like this English guy who's like their mentor.
That is Buffy.
Of course.
But there
Is he a
was
good guy, the English guy?
well, we don't know. There's a spoiler
They
at the end
never
of at the end of the episode. But one of the daughters is lesbian.
Yes, that's new.
Is that Melanie Diaz?
I don't know. I think she's like the middle sister.
Oh, God.
I don't know which
Melanie
one.
was in Fruitvale Station.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, it's Sarah
She's fabulous.
Jeffrey, Melanie Diaz, and
Are
Madeline
any of them-
Montauk are the
Are
new
any of them
Charm
breakout
Girls.
stars?
Melanie's fantastic.
I think
Really.
Melanie might be the older doctor one. Or
Okay.
the scientist's daughter, but yeah, she was really good.
I didn't watch the
enjoyed
first
it.
one either.
It was cheesy, like the first one could be cheesy,
I
but
was a huge Buffy fan. I never watched Supernatural though. I wasn't. Were you a Supernatural?
no, I
person?
didn't watch that either.
But Sister Witches is kind of delicious, and now that Sabrina is coming out on Netflix, they've definitely leaned into this.
Oh, how excited are you for Sabrina?
I can't wait.
Oh, we could do a whole thing on that. Can we do a whole episode about
you
Sabrina?
can talk about it next week.
And they're all a little bit younger. They're all like in college, so they're going to be witches at like frat parties and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how they've kind of aged it down a little bit for today's youth market.
Wait, this one's on.
CW.
Oh,
The
yeah.
other one's on the WB, which is
Okay.
which
kind of
turned
same
into the
thing.
CW.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a really comprehensive. But if you're interested in Charm, check it out on the old CW.
I'll definitely watch another episode.
All right, good to know.
Number 6.
Looks like, James, you're talking about the small screen too.
What am I talking about?
Yeah,
What's next?
number 6, James.
What, I don't know. What's going on?
Cool kids. Dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
dun,
yeah.
dun,
I
cool
did.
Kids.
I watched the Cool Kids. It's on Fox. It stars David Allen Greer, Martin Mull, Leslie Jordan, who we love,
and
your favorite
Vicki
Vicki
Lawrence.
Lawrence from the Carol Burnett Show. Yeah, it's set in a retirement home. It's sort of this one's being touted as the next Golden Girls.
Yep.
It's funny. Have you watched it?
I did.
Some of the writing is really clever. It is funny. It's a sort of a traditional three camera.
Yeah, it looks really 70s. It looks really like bright, shiny video. It's kind of funny. Even the
Yeah.
set, it looks cheap in kind of a purposeful way. I think.
Exactly, and there's a laugh track to it and everything. But like I said, the writing is funny. There's jokes about Viagra and Grindr and twerking, and they sort of hit all the right notes. What do you think of it? Because I don't know. I've watched 3 episodes. I don't know whether I'm going to keep going.
You told me about it.
Yeah.
I heard from my high school friend Wendy Bennett, who just out of the blue said, "Have you seen this show on Fox?" And it was Cool Kids, and she thought it was a hoot. She had never seen Leslie Jordan before.
Oh,
and
he's
Leslie
a
Jordan
stealer.
is a gift that keeps on giving. He kind of does, and these are 4 incredible comedy pros.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to see them working. I wish it were a notch better written.
I have a feeling though that once it gets into 4 seasons and it's syndicated and it'll be on TBS,
We'll watch it constantly.
It will be one of those every night before you go to bed.
Yeah.
You can just turn on, Cool Kids, and it's like what it is for you with
Golden Girls.
Golden Girls.
Oh, yeah. Golden Girl's still on. So
You know, I own every DVD season of Mama's Family.
There, you see, I have a feeling it's sort of it's a notch better than Mama's Family, but it's that sort of
Could anything be better than Mama's Family?
The first 2 seasons of Mama's Family were.
But like with Saturdays when you're hungover and you're just sort of like you've land on something and you
But
watch.
the thing about
a
Golden
marathon.
Girls is it is so well written that actually it can play and play. It repeats
Well, I have a
very,
feeling this
very
is going to
well.
get better once it finds
I think
its
so
groove.
too. And
Yeah.
sitcoms like those, they take a while.
Yeah.
But what's kind of nice, and this is maybe not going to sell it to anyone listening, but everyone's a little paunchy and they don't have to cover it up or try to. Everybody's chin is a little saggy. It's like Vicki Lawrence has her red hair. She looks just like Vicki Lawrence, but there's no attempt to try to blur people or tape them. It's
I love that
refreshing.
because for
It's
years
refreshing.
TV's had a sort of age cutoff point after which you just don't exist.
And it's definitely rowdy and raunchy. It definitely competes with
lots of old people having sex jokes. And so it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it, and I think we should give it all a chance.
All right. That's Cool Kids Fridays, 8:30 p.m. on Fox.
Number 5.
What do we got?
Are you bringing us down again?
I am actually.
We
well,
did everything we could to bump the show back up.
I'm bringing you down, but I hope I'm going to light a fire of passion and rage. Who is the most bullied person in the world?
Me.
Other than you. Melania Trump
Melania
and James.
Trump, according to her
right.
ABC special, which I did force myself
Hillary
to watch
Clinton.
pieces of it,
couldn't.
and I just had such a violent reaction. But I think what really grabbed me were reading the reviews afterwards, because the controversy, such as it is, centers on this whole idea of her and fashion. And how she feels like, why don't people look at what I do rather than what I wear?
And she said that while wearing a pith helmet and in front of the Sphinx.
Exactly.
Come on, give me a break.
Going on safari with the pith helmet and the jodhpurs and the long boots like a British colonial, or standing in front of the Sphinx like Poirot from fucking Murder on the Orient Express.
Exactly, yes.
What the actual fuck? Number one.
I don't care really. I really don't care. Should you? I mean, like you're wearing that to go see the refugee children.
Well,
she brings it upon herself.
And herein lies that I think she gets what nauseated me, especially about the ABC special. Well, I guess number one that they even made it in the first place because I don't think she warrants it. Number two, that they had to have both sides. So she's an incredibly engaged first lady. These sort of
but she speaks in
lying.
She they say that she speaks 5 languages. She doesn't speak any language.
No.
She's one of those
She
people.
mangles English.
Exactly. She really can't get. She's like her husband. She can't get through a thought. It's just word salad.
Yes, word salad, and yet from an incredibly evil, duplicitous mind. Because here's the thing. She first said, because what everyone wants to know about is that jacket, the one that she wore to visit the children.
It had no message at all.
And
And
then
then
I
she-
don't care, do you? And everyone's like, does it have a hidden message? It's like, it's written on the back of the coat. And she said at first, no, it's just a coat I wore on the plane. And then she said, well, actually, yes, it did have a message. Obviously, she said, I didn't wear it for the children. And it's like, that's a huge lie. You wear clothes to go to events. Like, lie number one, she did wear it about that. That's lie number one. Lie number two is that she said, oh, I wore it because I don't care about the media criticizing me. Why don't they focus on what I do as opposed to what I wear?
Well, don't wear ridiculous clothes if you don't want people to comment on your ridiculous clothes.
Lie
do
number
something
three.
I know this. I know this.
Lie number three, she took the coat off. And when she got off the plane, she put
Put
the
it
coat
back on
because,
because-
as she said, she saw the media going wild about it. Fuck me. This is gaslighting.
No.
This is like her husband. Word salad, yes, but gaslighting. Plain
It's
and
attention
simple.
at all costs.
Now,
Right?
here's the thing, and this has been pointed out a number of times online, where she says, I'm the most bullied person on the planet for me. But here, you cannot being bullied means that you are powerless, and there are people who have power above you. She is the first lady of the United States. You can be harassed, but you cannot be bullied if you
Right.
have power. And she is somebody with a lot of power, a lot of agency, and she's
And not the most harassed woman either. Lock her up.
Egg.
Horseface.
Yeah.
Pocahontas. Like, come on.
Yeah, just give me a break, you.
I mean,
you
it's
feckless.
It's possible she's bullied by her husband. I could believe that, but so what? Do something about it.
That's not
Well,
what
all
she's
of
saying.
America is bullied by her husband. so-
Exactly.
That's not what she said.
She
Exactly.
the when she was asked about their marriage, that was a little telling too. Are you in love with your husband? We're good. Yes. Like the answer was so wrong, and the Randy Rainbow video that came out.
There's a little ray of sunshine in the whole thing.
Just
right?
the best. Just the best.
Just be best.
He's
It's a
always so good.
brilliant piss take.
And you know how he
using-
cuts up interviews, but like when you see her answers at a contest and just see her face and her energy,
snake-like,
it's really spooky.
venomous.
It's really spooky.
Just sort of poised. And the whole interview is ridiculous because she sat there with this sort of backdrop of Africa behind her, lions and elephants sort of cavorting around. And then this fucking pith helmet is on a sort of cocktail bamboo table right in front of the camera. The whole thing is really...
I want to see the hat box it came in. I want to see the person who was in charge of the pith helmet hat box, you know.
Can I just add, and I just want to add one little detail, which is that, focus on what I do, not what I wear. I didn't realize, did you, that she has made, according to Trump's most recent financial disclosure, at least $100,000 from Getty Images being licensed from her.
I've heard that, yeah.
So,
You have to license the First Lady's picture?
Yeah, but the good news is, should you want to use her picture, there is a Flickr account. There's a White House Flickr account, and all those images are public domain.
Good to know.
Interestingly, a lot of them are at the back of her head. So if you
Because it's not really her.
you wanna
There are
freak
definitely
out.
7 Melanias.
Right.
I'm not inventing that idea, but it's true. Let's just live in a world where I don't know which Melania we were talking to.
So fuck Melania.
Oh, man.
Okay, so we have to take a quick break. Hey, James.
What?
Our
Me
World of
again?
Drag subscription box is back better than ever, monthly. For just $20 a month, James, you'll receive a t-shirt, enamel pin, and a Mystery Queen item. First up for October, Trixie Mattel's Skinny Legend sweatbands. James, sign up
I
at
want those for the gym.
worldofdrag.com. Thank you, Blake. Yes.
1 every month.
Yeah.
3 items,
Yes.
$20.
Giving it away, basically.
That sounds like a good deal. Most of the time, you can't get one T-shirt for $20.
I know.
Well, I have another trivia question.
Okay, great.
How many first ladies have been born outside of the United States?
I know the answer to this.
Oh, we'll have the answer for you. James will have the answer for us right after the break. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report.
Welcome back. We were just talking about Melania Trump and her. And how she's weaponized couture, right?
Yeah.
Idle threads. But the question was, Blake.
How many first ladies have been born outside of the United States?
We know Melania has. That's
Yeah,
one.
I think there's only one other than her. I think
Is it like
it's-
Martha Washington or something?
No, it was I can't. Who is it?
It's Louisa Adams.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Where
So
was she
there was
born?
one other.
She was born in England.
There you go.
No.
She was John Quincy Adams' wife.
Okay, so we are here counting down the top 10 things that made us go,
Wow.
James, Tom, Fenton, Blake. Number 4.
Okay.
Yeah. We're at number
You sure
4.
about that?
I'm not really, but I'm.
You have one job, mister, and it's to count down from 10. No, I'm teasing.
you're
Number 4.
I don't watch a lot of primetime shows on CBS. They turn me off. They kind of revile me. There was a time when my friend Charlie was sick and I was in bed watching shows he wanted to watch as an older guy. And all those shows, Dangerous Minds, they go to the darkest, twistiest places. And I think they're kind of Republican fodder because it basically says within an hour, there was an episode I saw where not only was this guy robbing banks, but he was kidnapping the people in the bank, and then he was having mothers and daughters have incest.
in the bank.
This was a CBS show. And then by the end, they figured it all out. But they figured it all out in kind of like rhymes. Well, he was wearing blue, and that rhymes with Clue, and I think I know where I might find him. Like a totally corny procedural. But it basically says to people at home, old people watching, the world is horrific. Horrific things are happening, and you can fix them all in an hour with commercials.
Can I just sort of tangentially here bring this up? I told you that I was watching Murder, She Wrote. I was trying to get into it because
Yeah.
I never really watched it.
I can't believe that's amazing to me.
I don't understand the plots. I can't follow the plot. Every single time I'm just completely. I'm just
Maybe
I don't understand.
Is she
what's
talking
going
about like
on.
Walkmans and Rolodexes?
You need to talk to RuPaul, who will sit down and watch Murder She Did Sit Down and Write.
Uh-huh.
He loves it.
I don't understand what's going on.
Doesn't she explain at the end of every episode? Doesn't she connect all the dots?
Like 20 minutes into it, I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore. And I don't watch a lot of procedurals. Is this common with every procedural? Is it a lot of gobbledygook that they just throw at you?
Everyone watching a mine is a terrible thing to waste. Please donate to the St. James Fund. It's the first test, but you can't understand what's going on. I've never really watched that show that much, but I was assuming it was super simple.
Well, that's what you're led to believe, that it's for senior citizens who are like having, and that's what you're saying right now, that this show is what are we talking about?
I was saying different things. You're saying that Murder, She Wrote's hard to understand. And I was saying that their dramas tend to portray the world as a scary place that's easily solvable instead of a place. But there's an exception, and I started watching by accident, and I kept watching, and there's a new show that's on one half really corny and one half really interesting called God Friended Me.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I'm going to
know.
have to watch a couple more just to know. But it's on that Sunday at 8 o'clock slot, which was the Murder, She Wrote slot, which was also where Touched by an Angel was.
Oh.
And there is an African-American protagonist played by Brandon Michael Hall, who's kind of really charismatic, who has a sidekick, Cara Bloom, who's a white, beautiful actress. And the story is that Brandon's character is a blogger and an atheist. But he is the son of a preacher played by Joe Morton, who was formerly on Scandal as Olivia Pope's fire-breathing father. And he has a sister played by Javicia Leslie, who's a lesbian. And so it's a family of color. There's lesbian things. And it is a struggle in its purest form. It's about having faith and not having faith.
But you're bearing the lead here is that God friends him on Twitter, right? Isn't that the thing? God sends him on sort of missions and...
But is it God? Or is it there's some
I'm assuming because the title is God Friended Me.
And that's what you're supposed to think. And that's the cheesy part. It said there's good and bad. But the idea is that he's like this they try to make it very millennial for CBS. It's kind of fantastic because he has a podcast called Millennial Prophet. Isn't that good?
It's as good.
It's kind of cheesy.
But is it?
And he's an atheist.
Okay.
And
so it's
then
prophet
on
with
one day, blink, he gets a
friend request.
A friend request from God. He thinks it's like a prank, but God hooks him up with people. The first person he hooks him up with is this reporter woman, Cara Bloom. The episode I saw.
So it is Touched by an Angel,
yes,
essentially.
and they connect them, and he's not sure who's talking to him. Is it some? At
What was Joan of Arcadia? Wasn't that the one where there was God telling Joan what to do? Remember that?
Yeah. Was that the song? What is God?
No.
What was that series?
That was his song.
That was a song.
It was a really good song.
I thought there was a series.
What if God was one of
I thought
us?
there was a sort of
Just a
millennial.
slob like one of us.
No,
Well,
Joan of Arcadia was, you remember, Amber Tamblyn.
Yep.
And God, she had visions every week.
Well,
God
how about
told her
Oh
what to
God
solve.
with John Denver and George Burns?
We're going back, yeah.
Why Sunday evenings does it have to? Because it's always so depressing.
Because
isn't it?
Sunday
Like,
is God's day, and it's Republicans.
And a lot of people are home,
Uh-huh.
and so it's a big TV viewing night.
And
It
it's
should be
also-
the big night.
And it's not supposed to be too exciting because you're supposed to be able to go to bed, right?
Yes, and
And
family
Wasn't
and
that the whole
friends.
theory behind all of CBS?
Anyway, I fell into it by accident. I wanted to dismiss it and just make fun of it, and I found that some of its underlying themes are very compelling. And for CBS, it had a multiracial, gay, lesbian cast. So I don't know if that's a
There
little.
was a kiss, same-sex kissing.
There was some making out. Lesbian making out.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was?
Yeah.
And that God Twitter account is pretty funny on Twitter,
I do
you
follow
know?
God on
I
Twitter.
do follow God on Twitter,
yes.
too. It's hysterical.
But that's no relation, right?
No.
Okay. All right.
God friended me.
God Friended Me Sundays, 8 p.m. on CBS. And if you don't like that, Dancing Queen with Alyssa Edwards streaming now on Netflix. How's that?
They're not
for-
mutually exclusive.
Oh, exactly.
Number 3.
James, number 3.
Hey, James, where were you earlier this week?
Well, it's interesting you should ask.
What college were you at?
I don't know. I don't
This
know where I was.
Is the headline. James came to us. I'm starting the elevator. James came to us saying, I spoke at USC today. This was yesterday. And he's like, oh my God, it was so amazing. I'm going to talk about it in the podcast. Excellent. We can't wait. Coming down to the recording.
Wait, was
James
it
is
USC
like,
or was
"Where-
it Cal
Cal State."
Was I at Cal State?
And now he's trying to pretend they're both the same thing.
Well, no, I know the campus is over by downtown.
This is the trouble, James. You are such a dark horse because all it said is James out of the office today. And then you call all buzzed up saying, I just spoke at USC. And it's like, we don't know what. And then you'll be on this reality show. You move in mysterious ways.
I was doing my prime
Secret
of Miss
life.
Jane Brody. I was doing my Captain. I was doing Dead Poet Society. I was doing my civic duty. I was speaking to the children at either Cal State or USC, one or the other. It was Victor Corona's class. Remember?
Night Class.
Yes,
Author
of Night Class.
If it matters, on your own Instagram, and assuming you're in charge of your Instagram, it says the prime of Miss JSJ. I spoke to students at Cal State LA.
No, but if you go to my Twitter, it says I spoke to students at USC. So I was hedging my bets. I don't know. I was one or the other. But the interesting thing was that there was a takeaway there.
Right.
Victor Corona, somebody we've had on, we've interviewed here at World of Wonder. Yeah. He has a book out called Night Class, in which he talks about New York nightlife. He was a part of New York nightlife. He was Michael Ailig's assistant for 3 years. They aren't friends anymore. But he wrote this book about sort of a history of what happens in New York after dark. Right. And so he teaches this class of urban social studies at either USC or Cal State. I can't remember where. But he teaches this class, and he had me in to talk about New York nightlife and myself and all, blah, blah, blah. And the kids, to their credit, they sort of knew the story of Michael Ailig. They sort of knew about the club kids, and it was a Q&A section that he just introduced me, and then they asked questions. And it was a lively back and forth with college kids, and you gotta love them because they're young little minds, they're little sponges, and they're so eager to learn, and they're so excited. And they were all. It was a very diverse group of kids. There were kids who were who'd been in gangs. There were kids from underprivileged families. There were very privileged kids there, but they all were just like really eager and very interested to talk. There was and we talked a lot about just conversation was just all over the map, and it was just fascinating for me to bounce off these kids and everything. I really had a good time. There was a trans kid there who the pronouns they them, and they were talking. They were saying. We were talking back and forth about gender, the gender revolution, and my Twitter war with Lisa Ling, and this and that, which we didn't get a chance to talk about last week. But one of the things that they were saying, I was saying to them, it must be a wonderful time to be like LGBTQ right now, and to be sort of on a campus in a safe space like this, and to be able to be yourself, and to be surrounded by like-minded people and people who understand you. And every single one of the students said, no, you're absolutely incorrect. What? That since Donald Trump has taken over, that there's an alt-right group on campus now. There's of white supremacists and neo-Nazis that are making things hell for LGBTQ kids there. And they were all saying that it's a group of agitators, and there are fights on campuses, and there's all sorts of violence that's breaking out everywhere on this campus.
That's crazy.
And it is, because we are led to believe that times have changed and that things are getting better, but actually we're being held, taken back to the 50s, if not the witch
the
trial
pendulum
is swinging, and things are getting worse. And you think that if it's happening in Los Angeles, at a Los Angeles community college, right? Not a community college, but just at a college in Los Angeles, at a campus here, then things must be bad everywhere. And I asked them, I said, has it been like this? Is this something that's just happened since Trump, or was it like this under Obama? And of course, they're too young to remember the Obama years. Like literally, all they know is coming into adulthood during Trump, and so they don't have the context to know whether things are changing or whether they're getting worse or better.
Visibility is a double-edged sword kind of thing, right? Because we at least are visible and can find each other and have a community, and we also are visible to haters.
But you feel like things maybe, we had this wonderful period, this sort of utopian period under Obama, and now
he gave us hope.
Yeah, but we don't have that anymore, and it's just, it really hurt my heart to just hear these kids talk about being afraid in what should be a safe space.
Wait, this just in, I just did a little research, and Victor Corona works at Cal State LA. He's a sociologist there. There's a PhD.
Well, maybe you were at USC after all.
wait, where was I?
You were at Cal State LA. This Justin James St. James
Did they
was at
send
Cal
a car
State
or
LA.
something? How did you get there?
I went, but Victor picked me up and took me.
That's
so USC, if you want to book James St. James, he's still available.
Well, anyway, it was a lovely campus and really wonderful kids. It was just nice to walk on a campus again. It was really fun. I really enjoyed myself.
How lucky for them and how lucky for you. How great.
Yeah, it was a great time.
You can also read Professor Victor Corona's book, Night Class, a downtown memoir, on Amazon. As well as James St. James's collected works, of course. Freak Show, Party Monster, things of that nature. Okay, so number 2.
Number 2.
How long have we got? Because
There's a lot to unpack here.
Well, okay, what
90
is Eudaimonia? Eudaimonia.
Swollen ankles.
I read this article.
Puffy labia.
How capitalism destroys democracy. Because, you know, one of the things is like, okay, is Trump an isolated phenomena, or is it part of other free countries and democracies falling into dictatorships and strongman figures?
Which is kind of happening all over the globe right
Yes,
now.
he talks about the
But
tsunami of
are
rage.
they happening because the Trump allowed it? Is sort of a domino effect, or was it everybody rising up at the same time?
He says that to invest in the common good, people must have one crucial thing, which is a surplus. And his feeling is that capitalism is essentially an exploitive system that fails people in terms of creating a surplus. It basically wrings people dry. Yes, and I'm not a socialist, but yes, certain people do get rich, but generally everybody else works harder and harder for less and less. And that once you reduce this, and he doesn't just mean financial surplus, he means surplus in all terms, in all sorts of respects. And that the whole idea of eudaimonia is that it's a different, he says that basically, because I read this article, I was fascinated, so I had to like go and learn more. And the writer said that the whole idea is that in an economic paradigm, which is one we've been living in, I don't know, since World War II, we've certainly been, it's a worldwide thing. It's all about the economy all the time. Yep. And he says the problem with that, it doesn't really care about people's well-being. And that's what eudaimonia is. And it's actually, then I learned it's actually really a thing. That,
Wait, I don't understand this word. Break down
eudaimonia, exactly. EU means good from Greek, I think, and daemon means spirit. So eudaimonia is good spirit. It's all about doing and living well. And it's not just about making money. It's about the sort of integrated concept of capitalism and living, okay, in a job. I mean, he said that people really should be gardens and should be allowed to flourish as opposed to being on a treadmill.
Yeah, boss.
Says the man with the actual treadmill in his office. What the hell? You're not the spokesman.
I was
for
raised
I'm not the
in
spokesman.
the Catholic Church, and our priest used to say, he used to always talk about how bad communism was, how great capitalism was. And I, as a little kid, was like, Christianity, which is not capitalism, quite the opposite, was like, be good to everyone should have a piece of the bread. And then capitalism isn't that. And I always thought, well, that ultimately, that's why Democrats and social revisions, there used to be factories that were out of control, and they'd have weekends, and kids would get their hands chopped off. And they created unions, and they created safety guides.
And that was eudaimonia.
Yes.
That was like an idea that it isn't just about making the money, and the fact that actually democracy depends on prosperity in its fully dimensional form. And it isn't just exploiting wringing the last thing out of someone.
You have to find that balance.
But make it sexy for me, Fenton.
I'm trying to make it sexy for him.
Okay.
I realize I'm failing, but his thing was 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And how come that's our situation after however many years of the American experiment?
Because the 1% doesn't care that the 80%
Exactly, and that's what he's saying. It's capitalism is about flatlining incomes, and the problem with the world is that the American model is spreading all around the world, or has already spread, and that once people don't have a surplus, the idea of the common good goes out the window.
Where's mine?
And then the strong man comes in and promises that you'll get what you feel you should be having and what you're entitled to. It's a pretty compelling thing. Now, I have to say, I mean, you can look this up on, his name is
Solutions?
Yeah, his name is, yes, he does. It's Eudaimonia, which I thought, this seems like this could be a cult, and I'm wondering now, because the author is Umair, U-M-A-I-R, Umair Hack, H-A-Q-U-E.
Humor and eudaimonia.
No, this is the name of the writer, Umair Hack.
Okay.
I think, H-A-Q-U-E. I don't know how you pronounce it. He tells his story on Medium that he was successful, blah, 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 living life, and then suddenly he got deathly ill, and the doctor told him he was going to die in months. I thought, okay, well, and he had to.
But this does sound like the beginning of a cult story, yeah.
Right. But then he fell in love. He was on his deathbed and he fell in love with someone who happened to know what it was that was wrong with him. This is where it gets crazy. Okay, it turns out that what was wrong with him the light was making him sick. And on his Medium bio thing, it's a single line. It says vampire, and his thing is like the light was making him sick. So I guess he lives in darkness and writes these amazing articles.
That sounds like myth building. It
a
sounds
rare
like
genetic condition where the light can cause him to go into organ failure. So vanishingly rare that doctors on 3 continents haven't been able to figure it out. Well, okay, so there you go.
Which continent?
Antarctica.
Okay, read the full article on the Wow Report. We got to take a quick break, and when we come back, the Resistor of the week and the number one thing this week that made us go, wow!
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton. I'm here with Tom, James St. James, and Blake. And we've reached this amazing moment that we do tend to reach in our show when we get to the number one thing that made us go, wow. And what is it?
Number 1.
James.
Well, I don't know. I see this thing in front of us, and it's got Karlie Kloss, and it's got Janet Mock.
Project Runway is back. Project Runway is back.
We are on Radio Andy, and Radio Andy does attempt to focus on Bravo programming.
Right, sure.
And was announced not so long ago that Bravo, the originator of Project Runway, is getting it back. That's the hot news.
Okay.
Because
that's the number one thing that made you go, wow.
Okay.
This week.
Because we don't need Heidi Klum. We don't need Tim Gunn.
we don't know, but that's what's going to happen. Heidi and Tim,
they're
Bravo, for
on.
whatever reason, did not make a deal with them, or they didn't come with the package.
They're on to Netflix.
And they were scooped up, and they're at Amazon waiting for a show to be developed for them.
That's correct.
Which we're very excited to do, by the way. So who would you replace Heidi Klum with? Well, Bravo
Karlie Kloss.
said Karlie Kloss.
Who is Kushner babe. She's
Jared Kushner's brother's girlfriend or fiance.
He's the good son. He's the Democrat. He's the hunky Democrat.
And Karlie Kloss used to be part of the Taylor Swift squad.
But they had a big
they always
falling
did
out.
And then I think the genius, inspiration
Who would you
is-
replace Tim Gunn with?
Christian Siriano.
They have picked Christian
I
Siriano.
love him. Who's a wonderful, wonderful person.
So it's a full circle for Christian, who I think was in the 5th and final Project Runway season where he actually won. He was this young designer. He still is a young designer. That's how young he was.
I think he was one of the breakouts. Santino Rice, of course.
Yes.
But I think Christian as well.
And he's had a huge,
wonderful career.
It's very vibrant.
He does a lot of body positive
Yes.
collections. He's somebody who designs things for.
Who did he design for?
Remember
Leslie Jones.
Leslie Jones
Yes.
needed something.
RuPaul's Drag Race super fan.
Yeah, he does for a lot of people. He got a lot of press around Leslie Jones because he.
And it feels
he
like
reached out to her to make her feel
Gabrielle
beautiful.
Sidibe. It feels like a lot of people
Yes.
who were having problems getting designers.
He makes everyone beautiful.
Yeah, he does.
And I see Nancy Garcia as a judge. She's back there.
Who's
Nina Garcia.
Nina Garcia, sorry.
Oh,
Nina
Yeah.
Garcia is back. She's always
like-
been there.
yeah.
from Glamour magazine.
From
right?
Glamour magazine
uh-huh.
now. And then they say Brandon Maxwell. Don't know who that is. Sorry. And Elaine Welteroth.
Oh, I love me some Elaine Walter.
Really?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he was good. There's her picture.
Brandon Maxwell, I thought you would know, James.
If we were like doing a show or something, I would have like looked this up and figured it out. But I
Maybe
figure
we
we're
should-
just talking. We're just John. But it's interesting. Karlie Kloss, I don't have a super strong image of her personality. But I can't say that I knew a lot about Heidi Klum back before she started.
You're right.
So I'm curious.
I think it's a fantastic show. It's a great process show.
Yeah.
It's 17 seasons young, and I think it's great that they doing some new judges and mentors.
The truth is, I'm always a little jealous of Project Runway because on Drag Race, we do a mini challenge. We make them get dressed up and drag 2 or 3 times. They have to do commercials. They have to sing. They have to drop dead. They have to lip sync. And their show's like, at the end of it, like, I made this black dress. It's like, damn it. Why did we think of that? And it seems, not that it's easy, but it's very focused and very popular. And it's back on Bravo. And it somehow didn't feel right on Lifetime. I'm glad it's back on Bravo.
It felt it was like biding its time on Lifetime, didn't it? It didn't
And they're
feel-
taking
it's
a
a Bravo
risk.
show.
They bought a brand and they got rid of some of the talent, and that's always a risk. But I'm wishing the best for all of them, and really looking forward to seeing Christian Siriano succeed in a whole new way.
I love that. Now, I am looking up our Resistor of the Week because I want to be able to quote her fully. The Resistor of the Week is Morgan McMichaels.
What?
Drag queen, RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star, who posted this week
that she had broken her hand.
Which I thought, what a klutz. I didn't even read
Yeah.
closely. I just moved on. And then she has a picture of her, like her cast Bejeweled, which is very draggy and fabulous. But there's a huge story behind it.
Here's what she says on Instagram. So my hand is broken. I was approached by a man at the store who informed me that he was a Nazi and he wanted to cut my faggot throat. After he took a swing, I obliged him and finished the fight. This faggot will not be victimized. Yay!
Where is she shopping?
Yeah. No, like,
Probably in Hollywood.
Nazis are us. Morgan McMichael, who's guested on our show, has been on our RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars in season 2, is taking out Nazis.
Yep.
Go girl.
Hey, thanks for tuning into the Wow Report this week.
Can I make a confession?
You
To all
listen-
of you. Can I make a good confession? I've been doing this whole show drunk on Halloween candy. I've ate about a pound
They,
of fun-sized candy bars. I have no idea.
Listen,
My mouth is
upstairs,
dry.
there was a witch's cauldron at the front desk up there filled with chocolate.
Alex said that I went there yesterday, it was empty, and Alex said it needed to be refilled. I went there today, it was empty again. I said, has it been refilled?
Yeah, and someone keeps coming back and
I am wasted on Twix
It's
and
true.
Milky
Were
Way
there any
bars.
Starburst in the...
I don't only do the chocolate ones.
it's true.
Well, same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.